So one thing we thought would be helpful in this whole conversation would be to actually see what it looks like when it actually is happening, and then step away and say, okay, what did we just observe, and how does that inform our thinking further? So I'm going to ask us to put a pause on our conversation right now and see Michelle modeling with Andrea, who so generously has been willing to have this experience with us. And I'm going to record it. But what I'm going to ask all of us to do is the agenda. So I'll just show you what, I know we don't usually ever have PowerPoints, but I thought that it might be helpful for us in this instance to just have a little bit of an agenda. So if you give me a moment, what I did was I actually created a little agenda for tonight. And I thought that this might kind of guide us so that we're able to do what we were hoping to do. So what we have for tonight's meeting is what we just did, which is the role of habits of mind in communicating with others. And I use the term thought partner just as a holding place, to not say coach. And then we thought that Michelle would model in a conversation so that she could kind of say, if I'm guided by the lens of the habits of mind, what does my conversation look like? Then we would have a breakout where we would be observing, like, what did we see just happen? What are some of the things that we observed? Then we come back and debrief. And as a group, we sort of come together to say, so what have we learned from this opportunity? So what I'm going to ask is that when we do actually have the Michelle and Andrea talking, it's going to be spontaneous, extemporaneous. I don't think that there's any prep on this other than Andrea said yes, and Michelle said thank you. Am I right, Michelle? And so what we're going to do is we're going to ask you, as you listen, they're going to model this, and we're going to report it so you can go back and see it again. And which habits of mind did you notice Michelle was using most prominently? Now we know, probably you're going to see a lot. So just kind of jump in and say, which are the ones that sort of really jumped out at you? And then where might there be additional opportunities for using habits of mind in a situation like this? Or there are a few that you thought, wow, it would have been maybe helpful to pay attention to this habit of mind. And we're going to give you a chance to go into a breakout room. We have a way for you to record your thinking in small groups. We'll break you into groups no larger than 3 or 4 people. You'll have your conversations. Then we'll come back and we will then have a group conversation again. So what we're going to ask you to do for right now, because we want to keep our focus on Michelle and Andrea, if everybody could just mute yourselves. And also, I find it's often more helpful in this kind of modeling situation on Zoom if you also close out your video. And that way, we're all just focused on Michelle and Andrea. And then, Michelle, take it away.
So, Bena, I'm going to add, I just want to check on the time. We're looking at about, I think we had talked about 5 minutes. Is that still? So Andrea, thank you so much. Bena was right that I reached out, and, in thinking about tonight's conversation and just a few things that I know that are going on for you. This, Council Rock, you guys are a certified school, and it's really coming up to that time for your school renewal. Mm-hmm. And then you're engaging in the individual practitioner certification pathway. And you've been engaged with Habits of Mind for a number of years. So in thinking about tonight's conversation and just all of those different elements at play, I thought might be a nice opportunity to just check in and see where you're at, see where you'd like to be as you continue to move forward in this journey with Habits of Mind. Taking a responsible risk, reaching out to you. Just appreciating that you're willing to share some thinking with us.
Yeah.
So I guess I'd like to begin maybe with, given sort of that frame for our conversation, and knowing that you're a continuous learner and you're open to new learning. What might be a few words or phrases that capture sort of where you are in your learning journey now, individually and or maybe as a member of a school?
Wow. Well, individually, it's funny. I thought I was so, I don't know, maybe more advanced than actually I am, because when I started the badge with Craig, the first badge with Craig in the fall, I was like, oh, this is going to be just, old hat. And I just was really pleasantly surprised at how much deeper I was able to go. It was unexpected, and it was a pleasant surprise. So yeah, I feel like I've learned so much, and yet there's so much more. So I guess I see myself still like on this journey, and maybe even not as far on the journey as I thought, which actually, I don't know. I like to be on the journey because it is fun. So as a school, we've made a lot of progress. I think this year is very exciting because we are trying to incorporate Habits of Mind into our maker space. So we're talking about developing a maker mindset in adults and children, and Habits of Mind are a huge part of that. So that's super exciting because it's become, it used to be like, what are these habits? And let's figure out, what they even are. But now we're really applying it to instructional practice. So I think the challenge is everyone's in a different place in the journey. We have a lot of newer teachers. We have people who have been in this since the beginning. So how do you keep moving forward while also bringing people up to speed? I think that's our biggest challenge, while also just incorporating lots of fun and interesting things with the Habits of Mind.